Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi. This is the spooky arc. I mean, last arc was like the depressing arc. This arc's like kind of spooky for some reason. I don't know. It feels a little more horror themed, which is kind of cool. With our new cast, we got Mion, we got Otabe, and I don't remember the pink-haired girl's name. I think the other guy's Takeshi. Think Yay or something. It's like a 3-letter name, I think. But yeah, let's just get into this. We're trapped. No cell phone reception, though Otabe did call the police, so that's good, I guess. Anyone else drinking chocolate milk at 1:30 in the morning? Or just me? This guy's chugging beer. Lukewarm beer. I chug the beer down in one big gulp. Alright, yeah, we left off right before we were going to introduce ourselves, right? The aftertaste was equally terrible, but even so, I belched out the fizz gathering in my throat and eventually found the resolve to push myself forward. I took a deep breath, then pulled a business card out of the notebook in my breast pocket and held it up where everyone else could see.
それじゃ、俺から自己紹介。名前は荒川龍之介。売れっ子のフリーライターだ。
Well known. The woman dressed in traditional clothing chuckled to herself. Oh, shut up. It's the beer talking, okay?
専門はオカルト。ちなみに、今月号の週刊セブン幽霊村大特集号は俺が書いた。よろしくな。
幽霊村の特集？じゃあ、あの記事はあなたが？
Oh, see, we are well known. They knew. The young woman seemed completely disinterested at first, but she appeared surprised all of a sudden and looked up to respond.
知ってるのかい？はい、私読み
Oh,
ました。
based. We got a fan. We got two fan. Hell yeah.
結構いろんな場所の話が載ってて面白いなって。
そいつはどうも。あれは資料とかの下調べで難儀したからな。そう言ってもらえるとやった甲斐があるよ。
Being praised for my articles made me hold my head up high. But the woman in the kimono had a lukewarm reaction, simply tilting her head to the side as if to say, "Is that so?"
週刊セブン。へえ。みんな読んでるなんて、その雑誌すごい人気なんだね。たまにしか読まないんですけど、電車の釣り広告とかで見出しだけは欠かさず見てます。今月号はたまたま買っちゃったっていうか。
Okay.
もしかしてあんた、週刊セブン知らないの？
Clearly.
聞いたこともないね。
本当かよ。
Her words stunned a bit. The Weekly Seven is a famous gossip magazine that appeals to a wide age range. It's been around since the dawn of the Heisei era, 1989 to 2019. Excuse me? It's not even 2019 yet. So what? So I guess, wow, an era recently passed in Japan. What's the current Japanese era? Current Japanese era. It's the Reiwa? The current era is the Reiwa, which began on the 1st of May 2019, following the 31st and final year of the Heisei era. There you go. I didn't even know. This channel, wait. I think we made the channel in 2019. It's been through 2 Japanese eras. There you go. Longevity. Longevity. Not longevity. That's not a word. This was my first time meeting someone who had never read it, much less never even heard of it. She must be living a life completely disconnected from the outside world.
週刊セブンは釣り広告とか新聞とかでよく宣伝してるから。
She's chilling. She's too busy running the criminal underworld of Japan.
ロゴは確か赤字に白抜きです。
あいにく、そ
そういう広告は記憶に残ってないよ。
The woman in the kimono looked puzzled as she said that. How heartbreaking.
驚いたな。週刊セブンを知らないなんて。雑誌とかはあまり読まないのか？
そういうわけじゃないけどさ。
Think she still reads foreign game magazines? Probably not, right?
それであんたたちはその記事を見てここへ来たっていうのかい？
いえ、僕は偶然ですよ。
Oh.
私も偶然です。
Nah, she was planning. Well, yeah. I guess it's coincidence that they met him here. You don't know what Otabe's been up to be honest. We know whatever her name is. I think it's Yay or something, but
記事を読んでここへ来たわけじゃありませんよ。
something's up with her boyfriend or whoever that is. It seemed unnatural for both of them to declare that all at once. And even if it wasn't their primary reason, it would have been good social etiquette to just say, I read the article and it made me more interested in this place. Yeah, let me stroke my ego a bit.
あなたがここへ来たのは取材か何かってわけかい？
もちろんですよ。
I started to mention the occult special second edition, but I cut myself off. Given that a group of strangers were gathered together in an abandoned building, the situation was occult enough on its own. And on top of all that, all of these people have lifeless looks in their eyes. Yeah?
しかし記者さんか。
He has been saying that, huh?
あんたみたいなやつを見てると、もう少し自分を大事にしろって言いたくなるよ。
Jeez.
お気遣いどうも。
That seemed like an annoyingly roundabout way of insulting my occupation. It definitely was an insult. Then the woman in the kimono poured herself another cup of sake and pointed her chin toward the young man.
それじゃあ次はあんたの番だよ。
Alright, let's get some lore.
お嬢さん。
Excuse me? Oh, I said man, but she said woman. My bad, I misread that. I was like, huh? Because I was imagining her like pointing her chin towards Ultimate, then just randomly asking the woman. Would have been a good fake out.
私は
Towada. Yeah, what's your first name? I know it starts with a Y and may or may not be 3 letters long. The young woman looked a little embarrassed as she began speaking, so she lightly lowered her head.
十和田。
Yay! Dude, I fucking remembered.
向こうで寝てるのは私の連れで黒沢匠くんです。
Companion, very neutral way of describing him. As she said that, she turned back toward the young man sleeping in the corner of the room. He was apparently sleeping quite soundly, so there's no indication he'd be joining this conversation.
ふーん。あんたら夫婦してるのかい？
いえ、違います。夫婦とかそんなんじゃないです。彼はその
Okay.
私の彼氏でまだ
Boyfriend.
そこまでじゃないっていうか。
Tawada-san bashfully waved her arms as she denied that implication. But she definitely said boyfriend, so their relationship has probably been going on for a while.
この村へはドライブで来ました。
In her car, not his. I remember that was a point.
二人で旅行したのは初めてで、ちょっと緊張しちゃって。匠くんは疲れて今ちょっと寝ちゃってますけど、日帰りのつもりで東京からやってきました。あ、学生じゃなくて一応社会人です。よろしくお願いします。
What's your job? Tawada-san anxiously said all that in a single breath. She sounded like an audience member on a variety show who was suddenly called onto the stage. I wasn't sure what I should say in response to Tawada-san, so Otobe and I simply lowered our heads to acknowledge the
ド
greeting.
ライブってことはデートでここへ来たってことだよな。
そうですけど。
What's wrong with a long-distance date?
いや、そ
I guess you probably, if I would travel that far, probably would want to stay At least 2 days, right?
村人が全員死んだっていう配送にデートしに来るなんて
Okay,
変わ
dude.
ってるなって思ってさ。
I mean, that's also a great point, but they should be a fan of that shit.
そうですか？
Oh, pissed her off. Tawada-san looked upset as she stared at me. I mean, people have their preferences. Honestly, that sounds pretty dope. I would probably do that. So basically, Tawada's based. Well, it made sense if they're the sort of couple who likes to visit occult spots together. There's plenty to be curious about here. But for some reason, that just didn't feel right. Excuse me. She didn't look like the sort of girl who would go out drinking with a man in a place like this.
まあ、人それぞれさ。にしても彼女を置いて男は先に酔いつぶれてグースか寝ちまったのか。
I don't know what's up with that guy, if he's just drunk all the time or is like there's something wrong with him. Because he was like very lethargic when you saw him in the hint too.
こんな村で可愛い彼女を残して高いびきだなんて。たく、彼氏ってのは気楽なもんだね。
The woman in the kimono slowly turned to the sleeping young man as she said that. However, Tawada-san simply gave a vague smile. Oh,
ちょっと
okay.
長旅だったもの
A
で。
vague smile while sleeping? At
まあいいさ。
least he's alive. I thought, what if she freaking K'd him and, she's pretending that he's asleep.
あんたも
But he is alive, I guess.
はい。
As the woman in the kimono prompted, Tawada-san took a sip of her oolong tea. The liquor bottle was still over half full, and despite all the beer cans littered on the floor, only one had traces of lipstick on the mouth. The sake bottle the woman in the kimono has been guzzling down was only recently opened, so Tawada-san probably hasn't had much alcohol at all. Meanwhile, Otobe has been anxiously fidgeting his fingertips the whole time while listening to our exchange.
乙部、ほら、あんたも食べな。
あ、はい。
I like how obedient Otobe is to Mion.
イカですか。
Little squid?
なんだ、イカは嫌いかい？
I like squid. Just not like... I don't love it though. I feel like obviously calamari in like all the countries that make it in their own style is usually pretty goated. But boiled squid? Nah. Grilled squid? Nah. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just not good if it's not calamari.
いえ、
Squid, oh, octopus salad's a thing. That's actually pretty good, but squid sashimi, I probably like it more than the other ones, to be honest.
だったら食べな。しっかり食べてないから、そんなに青っちょろくなっちまうんだよ。
Ah! I mean, I don't agree, Mion. There's just some stuff that even if you force to eat, you're like, wow, that was shit. Hope I don't ever have to eat that again.
ほら、しっかり
Oh my
食べな。
god. Force fed by Mion? Yes, please.
ほらほらほら。
ちょっと。
Otobe sat there bewildered as the woman in the kimono gently piled baits of dried squid in his hand. Dried squid. I feel like I've had dried squid, but I don't remember it at all.
いただきます。
Free food, though?
あ、うまい。
だろ。
Mm-hmm. As soon as Otobe spoke favorably of the dried squid, the woman in the kimono gave a satisfied nod. Anyway, there was something warm about the way the woman in the kimono looked at Otobe. Yeah, like Satoshi. Dude, imagine if he looked like Keiichi, though. Then then she'd fuck with him. That would have been funny. How on earth are the two of them connected? Literally not connected at all. He just kinda looks like Satoshi.
あんたも野球か何かやってんのか？
Oh no. Does she think she's like a reincarnation of Satoshi?
僕はそういうのは。って 僕運動とか
Not a baseballer. Oh my god.
そこまでは一緒じゃないか。確かに野球とかやってそうには見えないもんね。
何のことだよ。
She's just reminiscing. I caught in on her conversation to ask about it. Based on the way she was talking to him, could these two be somehow acquainted?
ああ、いや、
He's blushing.
僕知り合いに似ているみたいなんです。
Think Satoshi's still just sleeping in the cellar? No, I guess they would have removed him. And I guess since Irie probably died from suicide, he never got cured.
知り合い
Unlucky.
ひょっとして共通の知り合い？
そんなんじゃないよ。私の知り合いサトシってんだ。もう20年以上も前の話だよ。それにサトシはもう
I'm the plot twist. Arakawa is Satoshi after a name change, which doesn't make sense because he's already established as the reporter's son. Never mind. Based on the tone of her voice, she seemed quite fond of this Satoshi.
僕もよくは知らないんですけど、いい人だったみたいです。
もちろんさ。こう言っちゃなんだけど、サトシはあんたなんかよかずーっとしっかりしてたよ。
She talks like Shion though, but I guess like it was established that Mion did like Satoshi back in the day. But it didn't seem like their relationship was that strong. Though I guess like maybe it was. I don't know.
すみません。
ところであんたらはどういう知り合い？
この村へ着いてすぐに会ったんです。だから僕はあんまり。
Something about the tone of his voice irritated me. What the fuck? I'm no good at dealing with people who can't act their age. In fact, I straight up dislike them. What the fuck, Arakawa? He's just a shy guy. Obviously, he's not that sociable. So he's a little nervous while talking. You know? I mean, I can understand it being kind of annoying, but
あんた名前は？
but he's cheesed. Maybe it's his journalist inside him. He wants those answers. Jesus, that's why my voice grew harsher even though I knew I was being childish. Literally buzz-killing for no reason. Otobe jumped in a panic and scrambled to sit the badge in his hand down on the tatami mat.
すみません。自己紹介が遅れました。
Actually ruining the vibe for zero reason. Now we got this ominous music. Good job, bro.
僕は乙部明。
Akira.
僕もドライブできました。
Otobe suddenly responded in a trembling voice, like a street interviewer had abruptly handed him the microphone. This guy too. Honestly, I find it hard to believe such a timid young man would come here all on his own. As I pondered that, Otobe turned to avoid eye contact, and then he resumed fidgeting uncomfortably.
あんたもこんなとこにドライブかよ。一人で？
いえ、いろいろあって。
Little sussy.
はぐれてしまったんです。
Hopefully those aren't the friends in the car and you didn't kill them because you're a psychopath.
はぐれた？
はい。
はぐれたってなんだよ。
By life and death. Despite my piling inquiries, Otobe simply turned his head downward and remained silent. Oh, this is bad. Maybe I came on too strong and questioned him a bit too harshly. With that in mind, I cleared my throat and began to say something to calm him down and urge him to continue. And then... Yuki?
途中で
Nope.
みんな消えてしまったんです。
は？
Huh? The moment Otobe said that, the assembly hall fell completely silent.
消えたって どういうこと？
おいおい、いきなり百物語か。そういう話は
They
もう
die.
少し場があった方がいいかな。
Hanyu'd off the face of the earth.
そんなんじゃないんです。本当なんですよ。
Otobe slammed the floor with his fist and turned to me with a serious look in his eyes. Once I saw that, I stopped making fun of him and urged him to continue.
どういうことなんだ。説明してくれ。
今朝東京出て、僕たち山沿いの道をずっと走ってたんです。運転は友達がしてました。それでしばらくして、この村全体がよく見えるようなちょっと見晴らしがいいところに出たんです。
Where people used to city life, the scenery certainly does look picturesque. If they arrived in the afternoon when it wasn't raining, it would make sense to stop the car and take a look around.
そこでちょっとトイレ休憩でもしようってことになっ
What
て、
the?
僕は用を足そうと思って茂みの方に行って
Gotta get that perfect piss spot. I
その
feel you.
後戻ってきたら、みんないなくなってい
Always,
て、
always go in a buddy system when you're in a haunted place.
車ごとなくなっていたんです。
With so little context, the story was hard to believe. Besides,
それってさ、言っちゃ悪いけど、あんた友達に置いてかれたんじゃねえの？
it's the most logical answer.
友達はさ、あんたを怖がらせようとしてんじゃねえ？どんな友達だか知らないけどさ、友達はひょっとしてまだその辺に隠れてて、あんたが一人で怖がってるのを楽しんでるんじゃ
Well,
ねえの？
he's not alone anymore.
そんなはずありませんから。
Ooh, pissed him off. Otobe smacked his dried squid on the floor and looked me directly in the eyes? Excuse me? Respect the dried squid given to you by Mommy Mion? How dare you slam it?
そんな意地悪じゃありません。勝手なこと言わないでください。
だよな。
Honestly, Arata is not in the right. I don't know if he's wrong, but he's not right. He's neutral. Neutral bad.
いちいちムキになるなって、可能性の話をしてるだけ。
Stop pissing Otobe off, man.
僕は車のすぐ近くで用を足していたんです。でも走り去るエンジンの音は聞こえなかった。
Otobe was so upset that his shoulders were moving up and down as he breathed. He seemed outraged by the mere suggestion of doubting his friends. Oh, friendship, Chad? That goes a long way in Higurashi. Was that really something to get so mad about?
それじゃあ本当に車が忽然と消えてしまったってことですか？友達も一緒に？でもそんなのちょっと信じられないけど。
僕にだってわけがわからないですよ。それでパニクって友達とか車とか探してあちこち走り回っているうちに崖から足を滑らせて、
Jesus. Tumbling, huh? Actually tumbling. Like a Hanyu. Remember when she just tumbled down the hill randomly? Tawada-san and I remained silent as Otobe was getting excited right in front of us. That's one way to put it. He seemed completely different from earlier, so I get the feeling he's not lying. What the hell's going on here? Excuse me? The next moment, my enter key? The woman in the kimono lightly chuckled as she poured herself a third glass of sake.
なんだよ。
Don't say Anutakushi.
大したことないよ、そんなの。
どういう意味ですか？
The three of us stared at the woman in the kimono all at once. She gave us a huge sweet grin and then spoke.
3人ともこの村の住人じゃないからね。 知らないのも無理はないか。
Is it? Oh, wait, yeah. Wait, no, this is the day the massacre happened. Okay, I was trying to say, is it Watanabe already?
そ
But
れ
it's
は
past
ね、
that.
鬼隠しって言うんだ
She
よ。
said it? She said it, by the way? I mean, I don't know why she said it's not a big deal. It's actually a pretty big deal if you get demoned away. Anitakushi? As a matter of fact, I have heard of that. Indeed, it's a story passed down in Hinamizawa since ancient times.
この辺りにはね、
Now the
昔から
question is, why did those
人が
people
忽然と
disappear
消えるこ
though?
とがあるんだよ。
Since we know it's not demons.
それをこの村じゃ鬼隠しって言うんだ。
でもそれっていわゆる神隠しですよね。
Yeah, Spirited Away is for pussies. We're in Hinamizawa now.
鬼隠しって言うんですか。
Tawada-san timidly chimed in with a question, but the woman in the kimono didn't answer and simply smiled to herself. The silence was growing awkward, so I jumped in to provide an explanation.
この村はさ、昔鬼ヶ淵村って呼ばれてたんだ。
鬼ヶ淵。
村の名前ともなった沼の底は鬼の住んでる地獄の世界とつながって
We
いた
do know our lore?
言い伝えがあってさ、その沼は海より深いと噂され、飲み込まれればそのまま黄泉の底まで沈んでいくと伝えられる底なしの沼だった。その沼の名前が鬼ヶ淵。
それじゃあここに書いてある鬼ヶ淵っていうのは
Onidofuchi Defense Alliance?
そう、それひなみざわ村って名前に改称されたのは明治の頃。それまではこの村は鬼ヶ淵村って呼ば
Probably
れ
a
てた。
good name change. Probably won't gather you a lot of new residents with a name like that. Upon hearing that word, Otobe looked up at the Onidofuchi Guardians poster stuck to the wall. One day, demons emerged from the swamp one after another. Demons came overflowing from hell. The villagers believed as such, and they were absolutely terrified. The demons came forth from the swamp and attacked the villagers without mercy. The humans were powerless before the demons. The villagers were confused, frightened, and at a loss for what to do. They had no choice but to flee. If things continued like that, the village would be destroyed by the demons. But just as the villagers were ready to give in, a god descended, Hanyu-sama.
お社様ってのは慈愛に満ちた神様でさ、鬼たちは村人を襲うのをやめてその意向にひれ伏し、素直にお社様の言葉に従ったんだと。
それじゃあ鬼たちはおとなしく地獄に
Nope.
帰ったんですか？
そうなりゃいいんだけど。
I like how we're getting this lore drop. Feels very reminiscent of the old school, the original arts.
彼らは
Every art had a little lore drop here and there,
帰る場所なんてないと
of the village history at least. Across both hells and the human world, these demons had no place to call home. And so Oyashiro decreed that demons and villagers must find a means to coexist.
お社様は鬼に人間の姿を与え、村人と共存できるように計らったんだと。その後、人と鬼の根血が進み、この村は半人半鬼の住む村になっていったんだ。
Hopefully the demons weren't what they looked like in the pictures they've shown us, because that would have been some freaky deaky shit. I stopped myself right there, cleared my throat, then continued in a low voice.
問題はここから先なんだけどさ。
問題？
鬼は鬼でも、そいつら人食い鬼だったんだよな。
True, not all demons eat men. Some eat grass, like a zebra.
人食い鬼は人間の姿を与えられていても、所詮鬼だ。
Oh, did they make them human? That makes it a lot better. Or is he talking about half demons?
何かのきっかけで
Half
衝動
demon,
的な
half
人狩りの
humans.
本能を抑えられなくなることもある。
You're making her sad.
人間と交わって血が薄まったって鬼としての
Okay,
本
he
能
is talking about the
は
half
DNA に刷
breeds.
り込まれてる。だがだからといって村人同士で共食いするわけにはいかない。
You would be a bad neighbor.
だから彼らは時期を決めて定期的に人里へ降りて。
まさか人をさらって。
Rather than reply, I simply nodded silently. Indeed, based on how the story had progressed so far, it was easy to just see the rest. In other words, the people who were demoned away were in fact victims of this habitual demon hunt. She's so
さすがオ
sad.
カルトライターとやらは詳しいね。
I liked Yei. I liked her design. I liked her little love spot. She's cool. She kind of has a weird vibe to her, though. Weirder than Otobe's vibe to me, to be honest.
こっちが感心しちまう。
I don't know if it's as weird as Miyuki's current vibe, but I kind of trust Miyuki a little more because she's Miyuki at least.
そりゃどうも。
ま、その記者さんの言う通りさ。それが鬼隠しってやつだよ。
鬼にさらわれ食べられる。
まあそんなとこ。
It's true. Hanyu confirmed this happened, and she hated every second of it.
昔は鬼
It's
が村の
unlucky.
村人たちが人里に押し寄せ哀れな生贄を無理やり力ずくでさらったなんて言われてる。
お社様はどうしたんですか？今度は仲裁してくれないんですか？
人さらいは
She literally
お社様
couldn't.
公認さ。お社様はこの村の守り神だからな。村人が平和に暮らしていければ問題なし。人と鬼が仲良く暮らすためには犠牲が出るのは仕方ないことだってお社様も割り切っていたっつうわけ。
ひどい話ですね。誰かが生きるためには多少の犠牲は仕方ないだなんて。
そうやって生贄をさらってきた夜にはその儀式として綿流しとかいうものが開かれたって話もある。綿ってのは人間の内臓のことな。
This is fake news. Only performed once by Takana. And, you know, back in the day, but that doesn't count.
まあどこまで本当かは知らないが。
As soon as I said that, I took a deep breath and looked at everyone around me.
それじゃあ乙部君の友達は鬼隠しにあって
By
イナ
what
ゴが
the?
人食い
I have a feeling they're the people in the car, right?
信じられない話だが実際にそんなことがあっちゃ信じないわけにはいかねえよな。少なくとも乙部の友達は何らかの怪異に巻き込まれて消えたんだから。
ちょっと待ってくださいよ。まだ決まったわけじゃないで
Yeah,
す。
stop saying my friends are dead.
友達は絶対生きてますよ。
I mean, I don't blame him. I'd be mad if people keep saying my friends are dead.
ごめんなさい。
Don't be pessimistic. It's Higurashi. Be optimistic.
便利だ
Surely everything will be okay this arc.
言い方がまずかったな。悪い。まだそうと決まったわけじゃないよな。
Otobe clenched his fist and sat back down where he was, still possessed by excess discord with no outlet. In doing so, he seemed to recognize the futility of his behavior, and instead focused his energy on believing in their survival.
友達ってどんなやつだったの？明日一緒に探してやるよ。
Nice.
あ、いいです
Never
よ。
mind.
自分で探しますから。
Come on, bro. Don't be shy.
大事な友達なんだろ？鬼なんかに食われてたまるかよ。な。
そうよね。
I love her sad face. Every time. Tawada-san immediately chimed in with a pale look on her face and both her arms crossed. I guess she imagined the content of our earlier conversation.
その友達と仲は良かったんだろ
EFFs?
ええ、まあそれはそれなりには。
However, Otobe continued looking down, trying to avoid eye contact. Come on, what happened to your enthusiasm from before?
オートベ。
はい。
どうしたんだい？顔が真っ青だよ。
いや、そんなことないですよ。
The woman scooted closer to Otobe in the tatami mat and said, "Is that so?" while diddling and pinching his sheets. Jesus.
あんた、
Pinched by
も
Mion?
しかして鬼隠しにビビってんのかい？
そんなんじゃ。
そうだよね。いいっていいって。まあ仕方ないさね。こんな状況だ。怖がらない方が異常ってもんさ。すぐ近くでなくても同じ村の中に死人がいるんだから。
Those words suddenly reminded me of the suicide victims I encountered earlier. Otobe and Tawada-san both looked distraught as they turned their gazes
あんた
downwards.
さちょっと不謹慎じゃねえの こいつの友達が鬼隠しっていうかただちょっと離れてるだけだってのにさ
You were jumping on that too, bro. But also
そうだ
true.
よね。ただちょっとはぐれてるんだよね。ねえ、オトベ。
まあどっちみちここからじゃ歩いて帰るわけにもいかないしな明日俺たちの車に乗っけてってやろうか
いいですよ、別に。
Come on, bro.
なんだ別に遠慮はいらねえぞ
いや、本当に。
Otobe stubbornly refused and hung his head. Was he just being timid, or was my kindness unwelcomed?
荒川さんとやら。
I feel like he's doing something in this village that he's not telling us
おせっ
specifically.
かいはよしなよ。
But we are kind of pushy, too. While I struggled to size up Otobe's true intentions, the woman in the kimono interrupted.
この村じゃ人が消えることなんてよくあること。
Good to know.
特に騒ぐようなことじゃないのさ。
I feel like it still is, even if it's common. Like saying it's common to get stabbed in my community. It's no reason to make it a big thing. But I feel like we should probably still make it a big thing.
さてと、すっかりごちそうになっちまったね。
Not gonna introduce yourself, Mion, so we can finally stop reading woman in kimono whenever they're referencing you. The woman in the kimono showed little regard for me as she finished her glass of sake, then quickly rose to her feet, and then she slowly began walking toward the hallway.
おいあんたちょっと待てよ
We got gamed on. I scrambled to get up and chase after her.
待てってばおい
なんだい？
I saw the pristine white nape of her neck from the loose collar before she slowly turned back to me. The gesture looked so unexpectedly beautiful that it didn't belong in this world. Average Mion.
なんだいって
A description, to be honest.
まだなのはあんただけでしょうがあんたの素性が一番気になってんのよ
A suspicious woman in a kimono bathed in an unreadable aura. And she spoke of being demoned away, which of course only people from Hinamizawa should know about. What on earth is this woman? The woman let out a small sigh, then turned her eyes my way.
私の名は園崎美音。ここ、ひなみ沢村の住人だよ。
園崎って
He knows.
あの園崎か
どの園崎でもいいだろう別に。
This woman, Sonozaki-san, quickly made her way down the hallway after saying that. The last name itself wasn't particularly rare, but within Hinamizawa it took a special connotation. So I couldn't suppress my astonishment for having met a person like that completely by coincidence.
ミオンさんって有名な人なんですか?
Well, she used to run Hinamizawa. I don't know how powerful her family is still, but they might be ruling the underworld.
有名も何も園崎って言えばこの辺りの名家かつてひなみ沢村を支配していた御三家の一つよ
そんなもん昔の話さ
って園崎さんどこへ行くんですか
ちょいと用を済ませてくるだけだよ
I'm gonna kill Miyuki real fast. Probably not though, because she was referring to this business in the tip, talking to Otabe, so
私はもともとこの神社に用があってきたんだ
pray to Hanyu
あんたたちの相手をするためにここにいるんじゃないん
or
だよ
to Rika. Sonozaki-san turned back and let out an exaggerated sigh. Then Sonozaki-san stopped at the entryway and crouched down to put on her sandals.
何遠くへ行くわけじゃないよ
The sandals are indeed gone from this
こ
picture.
の集会所の裏にある建物に用があるのさ
裏ってひょっとしてあれか
If that's the case, wouldn't that be a great opportunity? With that in mind, I rushed back to the assembly hall, grabbed my rucksack, packed with documents, and scrambled back to the entrance. Otoe was so surprised by my movement that he jumped.
どうしたんですか?
Classic.
決
Otobe.
まってるだろ集会所
Oh
の
my
裏って
god.
サイルデン
Dude, Arakawa would be friends with Takano.
木々の道具がしまってある場所だよ
A fellow storehouse enjoyer. You'll love to see it.
サイグデン
だからサイグデンお祭りの道具だよこの神社の神主であるフルデ家と村のごく一部の限られたものしか開けることができないというサイグデンそこにはこの村の秘技に使われた道具がしまってあると言われていて
興味があるなら
Yo, free invites. Wonder if Miyuki's there. Miyuki's been gone for a bit, huh? So Nozaki-san was already prepared to head out, and had her hand on the door as she casually looked back to make that offer to Otabe.
僕もいいんですか?
Yes, Otabe, you don't have to ask every time.
あんたが来
You're
るのは構わない
invited too.
当然俺も言っていいですか
好きにしな
My guy's pumped up, dude. Sorry, she's biased. The Satoshi bias. Why does she treat me so coldly? Then Sonosaki-san turned toward Towada-san and to ask her too.
あんたも来るかい
いえ私はここに残ります
Her response surprised me. Wouldn't it feel lonely staying in a place like this on your own? Hello? She has her boyfriend chilling in the corner.
彼がまだ起きないから匠くんが起きた時部屋に誰もいなかったらびっくりすると思うんです
It's actually a pretty good reason, especially in this decrepit building in a ghost village.
それに
それに
I don't know if she's interested in the tools.
さっきの鬼隠しの話を聞いてたら
Oh,
なおさら彼をここに一人で残
that's
すことなんて
also a pretty good reason. I'm interested in learning more about them. They intrigued me a lot, those two.
ちょっと考えすぎかもしれませんけどね
It's just a vibe, man. A weird vibe.
そうですか
Tawada-san gave us a sweet smile. I admired the courage behind that smile. I felt a little worried about leaving a young girl alone in such a massive assembly hall, especially a derelict shrine assembly hall within a ghost town. Hey, literally what I just said. I was a bit envious of the drunken man with her, who knew nothing of her compassion. In fact, I was resentful. If I were Tawada-san's boyfriend, I definitely wouldn't spend all the time in a liquor-induced coma. Wait, what am I talking about? I forgot this guy is down bad. It's been a bit since we explored that.
一人きり 肝の据わった子だね。乙部、あんたも見習いな。
True.
僕は別にビビってなんかいませんよ。
You're not fooling anyone, buddy.
ほう、その顔のどこがビビってないんだよ。
だから別に。
So Nozaki-san turned toward Otabe and started teasing him, but he did his best to respond seriously. But the two of them were just so different, so Nozaki-san pinched Otabe's cheeks, then he immediately turned red and went quiet. Tawada-san lightly giggled to herself as she watched the two of them.
彼
This sounds kind of
も
a
うすぐ
banger.
起きると思うから起きたら私たち先に
Oh.
東京に帰りますね。
Okay.
ああ、そう。じゃあ、西宮殿から帰ってきたら、もういないかもしれないのか。
そうですね。
それじゃあ気をつけてな。
I don't trust
いろ
that.
いろごちそうさん。
Tawada-san lightly bowed her head. Oh, I guess she was the one who brought the snacks and drinks.
どうも、十和田さん。
じゃあ、
Peace, nerd. So Nozaki-san and Otabe made their way out of the assembly hall. I made my way to the exit, then looked back through the doorway.
さよなら。
Tawada-san watched us all as we headed out. Kinda creepy. After exiting the assembly hall, we pressed on through the shrine grounds. Though the rain had died down a bit, the ground was still muddy and difficult to walk on. Nevertheless, Sonozaki-san continued walking forward without making a sound, even though visibility was poor, she confidently stepped forward. Seriously, is this woman really from this world? As that impossible thought came to mind, I quickly glanced at Sonozaki-san. Preposterous. Something like that is completely impossible. Despite that thought, I couldn't help but feel suspicious as I gazed in awe at her skillful footwork. Just then, Sonozaki-san suddenly came to a halt.
どうしたんすか？
Shh. Sonozaki-san's piercing glare signaled me to be silent, then I quickly glanced left and right.
いいかい。音を立てるんじゃないよ。
Someone's creeping?
すみません。はい。
Sonozaki-san remained still like she was waiting for something. I strained my ears, but I couldn't hear anything more than the rain crashing down on the mud.
行くよ。
Once again, Sonozaki-san began walking forward. But shortly after she stopped again. Oh, is she hearing footsteps? From L5?
園崎さん、一体どうしたんすか？
誰かいるみたいだね。
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna stop here. Seems like a tense point. Thank you guys for watching. Pretty interesting episode. Got some lore drop. I'm sure there's still a lot to learn from our characters, but yeah, good epi. And I will see you next time on some more Higurashi. Peace for now and have a great day. Bye.